For 17 straight years, Phil Mickelson walked the fairways of the Open Championship. Through the wind, the rain, the brutal links conditions, he always showed up. But this year, everything has changed. The six-time major champion has officially pulled out of golf's oldest major, and the timing couldn't be more devastating. Not just for his career, for his entire legacy. This is a story about a fall from grace so dramatic that even his fellow players can barely watch. From being golf's most beloved figure to being banned from clubs, accused of serious misconduct, and now missing every single major championship in a season for the first time in nearly 2 decades. The questions are mounting, the answers are disappearing, and the man at the center of it all has gone completely silent. Phil Mickelson hasn't competed since LIV Golf South Africa in March. That's it. One tournament in an entire season. The man who once defied age, winning the PGA Championship at 50 years old, now can't even make it to the first tee. His team has cited a private family health matter for his extended absence. But as the weeks turned into months, and the months turned into a complete season of silence, the story started to unravel. He missed the Masters. He skipped the PGA Championship. He was absent from the U.S. Open. And now, the Open Championship, the one major where he always seemed to find his magic, is off the table too. The Open was supposed to be different. As a former champion, Mickelson had an exemption to play at Royal Birkdale until he turned 60. He won this tournament in 2013 at Muirfield, and he's been a fixture ever since. But the Telegraph confirmed that the decision to withdraw was made 2 weeks ago, and it marks the first Open he will miss in 17 years. Let that sink in. 17 years. The last time he skipped the Open was in 2009, when he stepped away to support his wife Amy during her breast cancer treatment. That was a different Phil. A Phil the world could understand. A Phil the world could love. Here's where the story takes a devastating turn. Just hours after news of his Open withdrawal broke, a bombshell report was published by Scratch, written by legendary golf writer Alan Shipnuck. It contained allegations so serious that they've rocked the entire golf world. The report interviewed 19 sources who described a pattern of inappropriate behavior spanning years. But one story in particular has captured everyone's attention. It involves Ashley Perez, the former wife of fellow tour professional Pat Perez. According to the report, Mickelson invited the Perezes to stay with him during the Barclays tournament in New Jersey in 2015. At one point, Pat excused himself to use the restroom, leaving Ashley alone with Mickelson on the patio. That's when things took a dark turn. Ashley claims Mickelson took out his phone and showed her a full-body photograph of himself, naked with an erection. Phil says to me, "I'm going to leave my bedroom door open tonight," Ashley told Shipnuck. "When Pat falls asleep, I want you to come see me." She declined his advances and didn't immediately tell her husband. But when Pat Perez eventually found out, he confronted Mickelson, and the confrontation was brutal. Perez went on a podcast in 2022 and said, "I have a different hate for Phil than most people. Phil crossed the line with me that is just uncrossable and unforgivable. He knows he screwed up. He apologized for the action, but I cannot forgive him." What makes these allegations so devastating is that they're not isolated. The Scratch report reveals that Mickelson had abrupt departures from 3 high-end golf clubs, the Farms, the Madison Club, and the Bridges, with sources at both saying personal conduct was a primary factor. The Farms Golf Club in Rancho Santa Fe was the most recent. Earlier this month, Golf Digest reported that Mickelson had been removed as a member following allegations of inappropriate physical contact with a female staff member. According to multiple sources, Mickelson approached the employee in the clubhouse, made non-consensual contact with her, and was confronted by club officials mid-round before being told to vacate the premises. His display of achievements in the clubhouse has since been removed. He resigned from the club, but the damage was done. The report also detailed other incidents, including a separate dinner where Mickelson allegedly kept steering the conversation toward graphic sexual topics. Ashley Perez described feeling groomed by the six-time major champion. "There is a culture of silence that keeps women from coming forward," Ashley said. "I want to give other women the courage to share their truth. With Phil, I feel like the pattern has been there for many years, but people have been afraid to go public because it's Phil Mickelson." She added, "We give these golfers so much adulation and money. They think they're gods. They think they're untouchable." Mickelson's attorney, Tom Clare, released a statement pushing back against the allegations. "Some of the allegations circulating about Mr. Mickelson are false, and others revisit mistakes he has already acknowledged, publicly or privately," the statement read. Clare added, "Recovery is not a straight line." Throughout their 35-year relationship, his wife, Amy Mickelson, has supported Mr. Mickelson and their family with extraordinary grace, unwavering love, and the belief that people are measured not only by their failures, but by what they do to make them right. Mr. Mickelson's priority is to become the husband, father, and man his family deserves. Right now, that means giving his full attention to a private family health matter. But the response has done little to quiet the storm. His silence on the open withdrawal, on the allegations, on everything, it's deafening. The man who once had something to say about everything now has nothing to say at all. The reality of Mickelson's situation is even more grim when you consider his professional future. LIV Golf, the breakaway league he helped define, is facing its own existential crisis. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund is set to pull its financial backing after the 2026 season, and the league's future is uncertain. If LIV collapses, Mickelson faces a brutal reality. Former ESPN host Trey Wingo put it bluntly, "I can promise you one person that you'll never see in any way in an official capacity with the PGA Tour is Phil Mickelson. That bridge has been burned, detonated, destroyed, nuked, lasered to death. There is no building that bridge back." Alan Shipnuck echoed this on the Rich Eisen show. If LIV Golf goes away next year, which is increasingly likely, Phil's a man without a country. He has nowhere to play. The PGA Tour would require a suspension of at least a year and a massive fine for him to even be considered for a return. Billy Horschel recently said that Lefty might not be back on the PGA Tour no matter what. Despite his being a lifetime member and having done a lot, there are many things Mickelson did and said that have made his path back impossible, Horschel said. "There's something deeply sad about this story." One of his former golf buddies told Scratch, "It's a very sad story. He should have been Arnold Palmer. Phil had the same charisma, the same star power. People loved him everywhere he went. My take is that he came to believe his own bullshit. He thought he was bulletproof because his whole life he had always skated on everything. But in the end, he had too many demons. He got consumed by his own darkness." Another friend described his need for constant stimulation. "Phil does everything for the dopamine. That's his downfall. Whether it's the way he plays golf, all the gambling, chasing chicks on the road, going to LIV, it's all based on this very deep need to have action at all times." Mark Brooks, a fellow PGA champion, told Shipnuck what would have happened if Mickelson had attended the Champions Dinner. If he had walked into that room, the temperature would have dropped about 10 degrees. It would have been a chilly reception. Phil Mickelson is one of the greatest golfers who ever lived. 6 majors, 45 PGA Tour wins, a legacy that should have placed him alongside the legends of the game. Instead, he finds himself isolated, his reputation in ruins, and his future in professional golf uncertain. He won't play in the Open. He didn't play the Masters. He skipped the PGA Championship. He was absent from the U.S. Open. The 2026 season will be remembered as the year Phil Mickelson vanished. But the questions remain. Was the withdrawal his choice, or did the sport finally decide it had had enough? Can he ever rebuild his legacy, or is this the end of the road for one of golf's most polarizing figures? And what does it say about our sports heroes when we learn who they really are behind the smile and the charm? One thing is certain. The man who once had the world at his feet now has nowhere to go. And that's the most tragic story of all.